Hey everybody, what's going on? Danny Koker here, AKA The Count, coming to you from Count's Customs right here in Las Vegas with another edition of Count's Finer Details on a way cool ride. Sitting right here over my shoulder, 1955 Chevy 210 two-door post. This car, I've had it for an awfully long time. I've owned this 55 Chevy for a long time. I bought it out of Oregon. I remember that. It was, someone had done it up, kind of 70s street machine vibe. It just kind of had some aluminum wheels on it, had a small block Chevy in it. The body was reasonably straight. There wasn't any rust in the car, which was really nice. And I enjoyed the car. I drove it just, you know, as a fun street car for a period of time, and it was a great time. Then it came time to Count's customize it. We then set out to build a car that we were going to show off at the 2018 SEMA show with Matrix, who is our paint distributor here at Count's Customs. So we really wanted to show off something insane in their booth. And obviously we wanted to show off their product, their paint. But I wanted to do a car that the paint would be applied to something that was magnificent. I love 55 Chevys. I always have loved 55 Chevys. Why do I have this car? How did this car get into my collection? It's just my love for 55 Chevys. My mother, when she was a kid, she had a 55 Chevy convertible, turquoise and ivory, and that was the car that apparently she drove all the time. And some years later, of course, like we all do, cars get sold and things like that. My father always knew that my mother loved her 55 Chevy, and he totally surprised her one day by finding a 55 Chevy convertible. We restored the car just like she had it when she was a kid, obviously nicer, in that turquoise and ivory. And he surprised her as a gift with that car. That car is actually sitting right over there. That's kind of when I really started falling in love with 55 Chevys. I just thought the body style was absolutely gorgeous. So I've always loved 55 Chevys. So for me, I knew I always wanted to have one in my collection. The right one came along. I bought it. I drove it. I enjoyed it for a period of time as it was when I got it. And then it was time to do it Count's Custom style. We took this car apart. I'm talking frame off, full on, insane restoration on this car. It's absolutely staggering. The frame has been completely beefed up all over the place. It's got a whole 4-link setup in the rear. It's got 411 posi gears in the back. The front end of the car, we eliminated the independent front suspension that would, you know, come factory on a 55 Chevy, and went with the solid axle front end with a 2-inch drop I-beam, which is very proper in a gasser type of a car. It's not the type of car that you really want to take corners on and things like that. It's a straight line car. And by eliminating all of those, you know, control arms and all of that type of stuff and everything that was, you know, factory, and went with the solid axle front end, you actually take, you know, weight off of the car as well, which is important in a drag car, which technically that's what this is. They call them gassers. You know, gassers were cars that, you know, back in the day, man, these are cars that were technically dragsters, but with enough legal features to be able to get a license plate on. The guys would drive these cars on the street, and then they would take them to the drag strip and they would run them. We did put disc brakes on the front. It's important. This car's quick. Got to make sure it stops, which is good. grab that fender and pull it out as we tilt up. All right, ready? That's it. Underneath that beautiful hood is a big block Chevy, punched out to 496 cubic inches, topped off with a gorgeous Hillborn injection setup on it, which is also very correct in that gasser vibe. It's backed up with a Turbo 400 transmission. It has either a 28 or 2900 stall converter in the Turbo 400 transmission. So the engine is pushing somewhere, I'm guessing 600 to 650 horse. A whole lot of torque, the big block Chevy. You got a nice high stall converter, a Turbo 400 trans, and 411 gears with those radial drag slicks in the back. So this car will really get it. It's an all steel car. It's a 100% steel car. The front end is a full tilt front end, fenders, hood, the whole thing. Yet it utilizes the factory fenders and the factory hood. And you can even see in the details of it where all the seams are still there, where the hood comes to the fenders and stuff. Gives the illusion that the hood opens up, but it doesn't. Everything's all bolted together as one piece, and the whole front end tilts as one piece, which makes that engine very accessible to work on. Plus, it's just so cool looking. The cool thing about a gasser is there's really no rules. It's kind of like a hot rod where there's no rules, kind of like a custom car where there's really no rules. I feel that way about a gasser, but there are certain things to me that make gassers proper. And to me, one of the things is eliminating stuff like the front bumper, eliminating the front suspension and changing it to a solid axle front suspension type of a car, beefing up your frame for strength and rigidity. Stance is really important in a gasser. They sit up tall. They're proud, you know what I'm saying? And the front ends are up a little higher as well. And so there's a reason for that. I mean, first off, you try and eliminate as much weight as you can off the car. Any type of a performance car, power to weight is where it's at. But also, the reason that they sit up like this and so much in the nose is the fact that in a drag car, old school drag car, when you launch out of the hole, you take off from that line, you want to transfer as much weight as you possibly can to the back of the car and get it on those back tires for all that traction to get a better launch out of the hole. So if the nose of the car is already kind of up in the air more than most, transferring that weight when you hit it becomes easier for the car to do. So that's why a lot of times you see gassers sitting up like this. And frankly, it's really cool looking on a car like this. So inside, we eliminated the back seat, no need for that anymore. It's got the factory 55 Chevy blip folding bench seat in the front, fully roll caged throughout the entire inside of this car. It's not just a hoop, it's not just a 4-point, it is a full roll cage, full harness setup for good safety reasons. This car is, like I said, it's technically a dragster with a license plate. All the interior has been done in beautiful black leather, button tucked with chrome studs throughout. Love the chrome on this car. The wheels are chrome, everything around the headlight, bezels, they're chrome, the turn signal bezels are chrome, the grille is chrome, door handles, back bumper, all that kind of stuff, kept all the chrome on it. Those beautiful Hillborn stacks coming out of the hood, they're all fully polished. Got a lot of beautiful bright work on this car. But, like I was telling you before, we were gonna show off some paint. So I really wanted to make sure that the paint job went on a vehicle that is outrageously cool. So now you know the coolness of this 55 Chevy 210 two-door post gasser. So correct, so cool, so proper. It was time for Ryan to go crazy. Ryan threw every trick in the book. My man Ryan Evans right here at Counts Customs, he threw every trick in the book on this car for the paint. It pays respect to the late 60s, early 70s gasser vibe cars. So there's a lot of panel work. There's a lot of infinity lines. There are freak dots. There is pinstriping. There is gold leafing. There is fades and candies and pearls. And it just goes on and on and on. And all the different styles and all the different techniques of laying down all these different colors and all this different paint. Ryan just really busted out all the stops, and he paid respect to that era, and he paid respect to the guys of that era that really laid it all out. And so this car really has it all over it. When you spend time staring at this car, you never run out of things to look at. Whether you're in love with the car and the way that the car is built to be a proper gasser, to be a proper drag car with a license plate, you're gonna love that because it's got all that going for it. If you wanna stare at this car and look at the paint job, it can take you days to find everything in this paint job. It's just amazing, and Ryan did such a phenomenal job on this car. I hope you enjoy checking this baby out. If you ever get the chance to come down here to Count's Kustoms, you got to see this thing in person, man, because it'll blow your mind. It's one of the most beautiful cars I own, and really one of the most fun cars I own. But when you get a chance, come down here to Count's Kustoms and check it out. I hope you have enjoyed this rendition of Count's Finer Details on my personal 1955 Chevy 210 two-door post gasser right here. And if you have not subscribed yet to the Count's Kustoms YouTube channel, push that button, man. Subscribe. I promise we're going to keep bringing you cool stuff. In the meantime, enjoy the beauty and the coolness of this.